So now it's been a couple of weeks, and this news obviously has been just about everywhere. I'm sure everybody knows about it, but the next Fromsoftware game was announced during the Game Awards. Now, I feel like a lot of people were really anticipating some type of Elden Ring DLC, and I'll kind of get into that in a little bit as well. But a lot of people's excitement was reignited because we did get at least an announcement, even though it wasn't the announcement that I feel like most of us really wanted. While obviously there's a big audience that has played Armored Core for the most part, I feel like that DLC was what most of us were looking for if we're being completely honest. And probably the reason for that is because I feel like as Souls fans, a lot of us, including myself, have never played Armored Core. Now, I'm very excited for this game because I'm excited for something new. I'm always pumped for like anything Fromsoftware makes at this point, and I definitely will be trying out this Armored Core. I don't know if I'll end up trying any of the Armored Cores before the new one comes out, especially with something that could be a big gameplay change. You know, it might be completely different from what they used to do back in the day. Which, watching some gameplay and like some trailer showcases from those games back in the day, it does look a little clunky, a little dated when it comes to that style of gameplay. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be changed up. And the big thing as well that I feel like a lot of people are kind of realizing, but maybe don't really want to talk about it too much. But let's be honest and let's be very clear. This game most definitely is not going to be a Souls-like game. Now, I know that hurts a lot of people, and a lot of people are really bummed out about that, including myself. Like, I guess like that's what people want to watch on the channel, you know? That's what like my favorite type of game to play that they make. I would say that is where they shine the most. But it's been 10 years, and I'm excited to see what they do with something a little bit different and kind of going back to their roots, I guess, originally. And to kind of take all the experience that they've learned over the past decade of making Souls games and being really successful with Souls games and kind of experimenting with that type of level design and seeing where they inject that into some crazy ass giant mech game. Now, the trailer for the new Armored Core was so goddamn badass, but I ended up not really uploading my reaction because during the whole reaction, the whole time, I legitimately thought, especially when we saw like the yellow flames, I thought it was the DLC for Elden Ring. I thought it was some type of Frenzied Flame continuation ending, for that ending I should say, into the DLC, and I was, you know, basically struck down and looked like an idiot. Although I was pretty excited because I finally get to try this series that I've heard so many great things about, but also, you know, a bunch of things saying it's kind of clunky, but overall I feel like I've heard nothing but like great things about this game's story, and like the characters, and in general some of the gameplay being really top notch, especially for like that time. I'm very excited to try it out, and I thought I'd make a video actually saying that because the amount of people that still come to me and be like, you know, are you going to try Armored Core, being that it's probably not going to be a Souls-like? And yeah, definitely. I'm always down to play something new when it comes to Fromsoftware. They can make a damn battle royale and I'll probably still try it out, even though I feel like that'd be pretty freaking sick. Now, of course, that came with the disappointment of no DLC announcement. But we did actually end up getting some DLC news. You know, Hidetaka Miyazaki during the speech himself basically said, "We are not done with Elden Ring." So what that leads me to believe is that eventually down the line, I was hoping probably later this year, we will most likely get some type of Elden Ring DLC announcement. Obviously, when it comes to the first DLC, I would probably see the arena as the first DLC, the Coliseum or whatever, as the actual first DLC, but in the future, like something actually PvE and story continuation would be pretty fantastic. I have no idea when we're gonna get it. And for some reason, I feel like sometimes people will think I have this insight. You know, the amount of people that have come into my stream over on twitch.tv/lprod_ and have just straight up been like, "Hey Prod, what do you know about this new DLC for Elden Ring?" Not only is it not announced, like, why would they tell me, you know? Like, it's actually really funny every time it happens and it makes me laugh. But I do genuinely think that we are going to get a DLC. I think it's just going to be later down the line. I think that the new Armored Core, I believe, has been confirmed to be, while helped by Hidetaka Miyazaki, he is currently focusing on something else. Now, that could be something new, because we have heard about multiple projects in the works already apart from Armored Core. Some type of new IP, or it could be the Elden Ring DLC itself, which I do genuinely think that is what it is. I think in the beginning of the process for Armored Core, he probably assisted in some way, and then once they got a good director on that, shifting his focus straight to the main Elden Ring DLC or even this brand new IP. Overall though, I'm excited for Armored Core. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this because I know that a lot of people are probably not going to play it, unfortunately. You know, with the giant success of Elden Ring, I can see a big majority of those people not going over to Fromsoftware's new game. I think it's going to be big in terms of like a lot of people are going to transition and be like, oh, like a big mech game made by the Elden Ring guys, you know, let's play that. That sounds pretty freaking awesome. But I think that with the big shift in gameplay that we're most likely going to see, I feel like they're probably going to end up losing a nice chunk of audience. And you know what? I feel like they're most likely prepared to do that. I think they know what they're doing. Obviously, shifting from something so drastic, 10 years of doing Dark Souls and Demon Souls and Souls-like games, to a frickin' giant mech fighting robot game, I think is very risky. But in a sense, I think they're doing what they want to do, and in general, they do their best when they do that. I think Fromsoftware, whenever they get to make something new that they really want to make, you know, they didn't go and make Dark Souls 4. They ended up making Elden Ring. They didn't do some type of Bloodborne 2. They ended up making like Sekiro. They almost always do what they want to do, and I feel like they end up doing something great when they do that, which is one of the main reasons that I am so excited for the new Armored Core. Like, no, it doesn't have the Souls gameplay that is most likely going to get views. You know, is it going to be a series that I end up playing for the next couple of years when it comes to the new Armored Core? Most likely not. It'll most likely be some type of one playthrough and then maybe done like Sekiro. At least when it comes to YouTube, you know, I might end up streaming it more than that, and then playing mods on it, depending on what type of support we get. Sadly, Sekiro never really saw the support that I had hoped for it. And that game kind of opened up my eyes to like, okay, there's a certain formula that brings longevity, and to be honest, it is multiplayer. I feel like as much as people like talking about, you know, Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring being like, these are multiplayer games, I feel like down the line, 50% of the people playing it are probably people that are just doing PvP. And in reality, a lot of the people who play PvP are the people who keep these games alive for the longest. We are the ones who are going to play 100 times more than the person who does one single playthrough and then is done with the game. Which, by the way, is the reason I'm so glad that a lot of the main patches have focused on us. Like, the patches for Elden Ring recently have been great for PvP, including, of course, the addition of the Colosseum. And I believe that Armored Core quite possibly does have multiplayer. I'm not exactly sure what type of multiplayer we're going to see on it, but if it's great, then there's a good chance that it'll have some pretty decent longevity. Hopefully the game will be fantastic because I'm very excited to finally try out quite possibly my first Armored Core, unless I end up trying out one of the older ones. And if I do, maybe what would you guys suggest? Because I personally, obviously, like I said, never tried them out. Maybe a couple of you guys have been playing this series for a really long time. Feel free to leave it in the comments and let me know. But are you excited for Armored Core? You know, are you going to be playing it, especially if you only played like their Souls-like games like me? Let me know down there in the comments as well. But thank you all so much for watching the short little video talking about Armored Core. If you made it this far, maybe a like would be nice. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.